faith the size of a mustard seed can move mountains. You are that. Just remember that. That's all you need to know. Ooh-wee! We back with another reflection of the daily Vedantic, and we got another episode from my office here in Venice. You may or may not hear conference calls or other things that are happening in the offices around in the background. And if you don't hear it, then this microphone's doing its job. This reflection, and it's a continuation of the last two stories or the last two episodes where there are stories of experiences with Swami, or words that were imparted during those experiences that have to this day had a lasting impact. I haven't spoken too much about the vibration of the interactions. I haven't spoken too much about just the visuals or the storytelling. It's mostly around the words imparted. And I want to get to those visuals. I want to expound on those down the road. But I want to round out this 3-part series of Swami Stories with the third meal that I had with him. So there's this first meal where I talk about the words that he imparted during that first meal, which was 2 days ago. Yesterday, I talked about the second meal. It's just pure chronology here. The second meal and the profound words that he mentioned during that conversation that also unexpected kind of stiff arm to what I thought would get me a little pat on the back for my wise words, that it was met with anything but a pat on the back. And the third meal that I had with Swami, which is the third story for you all in today's reflection, is on something simple, powerful, was certainly not a stiff arm in any way, but was as profound, perhaps more profound than even the first 2 stories. And it was something that he said to me when I asked, "Do you have any parting words for me?" Because I was leaving the next day. And he said, "I do. You are that. Just remember that. That's all you need to know. You are that. Just remember that. That's all you need to know." This relates to something else that he will say pretty often, which is, if you can maintain the absurdity of the dream experience, then you don't need any of the books. You don't need any of the philosophy. What this philosophy says, and if you want the overview, it's in episode 1 of this podcast project. A 15-minute overview of the entirety of the philosophy. But in many ways, it falls down to 3 words. You are that. And as simple and powerful as those 3 words can be, it's only powerful if we can hear just a 1,000th of what is being said. In the same way that if you can maintain just a 1,000th of how absurd the dream experience is, where we wake up after 30 seconds, it's like that experience never happened. We go about whatever experience we're in our early morning days. We can't maintain that experience, that absurdity of that experience, I should say. That 30 seconds prior, we were projecting an entire world, creating an entire world and everything in it. This is not philosophy. This is just logic and what happens every night that we dream. Creating other people, creating gravity, creating shoes, creating clothes, colors, every blade of grass, every leaf on every tree in that dream, a creation, projection of your mind. And that's what this philosophy says so unbelievably and yet so familiar to that very experience you might have every morning, where you go from creating an entire world that you're convinced is real to waking up and realizing my perceptions, my sense perceptions are a terrible arbiter of what is real and what isn't, because it was so wildly wrong 30 seconds ago when it was convinced this entire universe that does not exist, that was not real. It was absolutely convinced it was. So when we hear that phrase, you are that which you are searching for, you are it, you are the totality, you are the creator, preserver, destroyer. When we hear that, so little of us can hear that because we're so convinced otherwise. Faith the size of a mustard seed can move mountains. You are that. Just remember that. That's all you need to know. And to highlight how hard it is to listen to that, to really hear what's being said. It's the least exotic of the different experiences or fascinating concepts, words, advice, stiff arms, enlightening quips that might have happened in the first 3 meals with Swami, and yet now with about a decade of going deeply into this philosophy, that's the only thing to say. The only thing to strive and to struggle to discover. So the parting advice for you all to end this reflection, and you could put on repeat for every episode, it's the very thing that he told me as I was gearing up to leave. You are that. Just remember that. That is the only thing you need to know. And that's today's reflection on the Daily Vedantic.